Hey there, and welcome to YAS, a stripper podcast. On this podcast, we'll discuss how classifying each other as people and workers is dangerous to society and marginalized groups of people. We'll also talk about the climate in and outside of the strip clubs and all of the amazing things that strippers do. And of course, we'll talk about all of the things in between. I'm your queen, A.M. Davies, and this is YAS, a stripper podcast. AMD, the Queen of Sexy, here to tell you about what is in today's episode. Okay, I had a chance to chat with Gemma Rose, an activist and sex worker / stripper over in the UK. And she gave us a lot of insight on what is happening over there. I mean, I thought I had an idea of what was happening over there, but I guess I didn't, because it sounds like a very conservative system that is trying to eradicate sex workers and sex work in the UK in general. There's a lot of negativity towards sex workers and you know, what I've noticed in the US in the last couple of years, and more so specifically in the last 12 months, is that there seems to be more vocal and public support surrounding sex workers, whereas it almost sounds like the complete opposite is happening in the UK, and it sounds rather scary. So just in case also you missed it in the description, there is a trigger warning. About a third of the way through this episode, there is a comment by a journalist that Gemma, tells us about, that is violent towards sex workers. So there is a trigger warning there for that. So if you get triggered easily from hearing things like that, you have been warned. And also it's also not extremely violent. So just to kind of quell that, if that's something, it's not graphic, but it is a violent comment. So I just want to make sure that you're aware of that, because I know how easy it is to get triggered these days. And so I've been getting triggered left and right. And so I really, it's really important to me and the producer of this show that we let anybody be aware of those things, because I know it's such a sensitive time. And not just now, but always. And that'll be the thing going forward. And so if you've ever experienced a time where you've been triggered by conversation on this show, please feel free to write to us and let us know that, so that we can be as aware as possible. However, a lot of the conversation was very lovely. Gemma is so bubbly and so fun to talk to, and I really did learn a lot, and I hope that you will as well. So without further ado, here is Gemma Rose. Today's guest is a super fan, and I couldn't be more excited to have Gemma Rose with us. But just before we get into Gemma Rose, I just want to remind all of you lovely listeners out there that we are accepting donations now, so this can become a listener-funded podcast. So if you love this podcast, please consider donating, because the money that you're sending in is actually going to be paid towards the guests, who are mostly out-of-work strippers, and also to yours truly, the host of this podcast, who currently doesn't have a job either. So please send in your donations to YAS, a stripper podcast, by going to our PayPal. It's paypal.me/YAS, a stripper podcast. Or you can visit our brand new beautiful website, yasastripperpodcast.com. And thank you to those listeners who have been donating. I'd love to do a name shout out, but I'm unsure if you want that. So I will be following up to see if donors would like a shout out, because I think that would be fun. Anyways, let's get over to our guest, Gemma Rose. Hello, darling. How are you today?
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
We're so excited to have you. Gemma, can you just tell our audience what your pronouns are?
She and her.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Have you heard some people using her, she?
No, I haven't. Is that a thing that people are doing as well?
I've heard a few people do it. Someone on our network team uses Hershey, like the chocolate, and I just think that's really cute. So
I kind
Yeah.
of want to change mine now to that because I
Yeah.
love that.
I definitely want to give credit to Comadres, our podcast on Period Podcast Network, for inspiring that. So I just want to make sure that I give the credit for that. Anyways, it's hella cute. You should totally use it. Hershey. So, Gemma, you're over there in England, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What part of England are you in? Tell us what's going on over there.
So I'm from the south. I'm from Essex, but I'm living in the north, so Yorkshire.
Okay.
And there's a lot going down right now.
I know. I've been looking at your
Yeah,
Instagram
like,
posts.
oh, yes, it's so stressful at the minute. I just can't believe it's kicking off over here. It's kicking off. Yeah, like or just so many laws coming into effect and policies that are just so anti-sex worker, and it's really frightening. So yeah,
Yeah,
trying to do
well,
a lot of work to combat that.
yeah, so you consider yourself an activist, right?
100%. Yeah, I really, really pride myself on that work. It's hard, but it's so necessary.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I know so I also have been a sex worker for 20 years and then I recently became an
Mm,
activist, and like both of those things, especially when done together, it can really burn a person out.
yes, it's so exhausting. I have like
Yeah.
emotional burnout all the time. It's a lot. I think I just have to keep on reminding myself. A lot of people keep on telling me this, and I am such the kind of person that wants to take on the world's problems all on my own little two shoulders. And I know that I just can't do that as an individual, and it's the collective effort that is going to drive change, and that's so important. It's, you know, it's a relay race and a marathon, not an individual sprint.
Exactly.
i have to
Yeah.
I have to keep on reminding myself that.
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that because I feel and have felt similarly for a long time. And then, I went really, really hard and just got totally burnt out, and had to basically like hide in a bunker. How do you sort of deal with not getting to that point? Like, what would you tell other people who are also doing a lot of emotional labor in their job and then having to do free emotional labor and then having to deal with
Mm.
COVID and the world being a mess? Like, what would you say to someone, like how to properly self-care and like when to pause?
I'm still really navigating this myself, and I would love it if someone could tell me how to deal with it, because yeah, I don't think I'm dealing with it that well at the minute, and I'm kind of
Yeah.
trying to learn as I go along.
Yeah.
I'd say take time for yourself, but that would be really hypocritical of me to say that, because I'm so bad at doing that myself.
Hmm.
I think that something that's helped me is talking to like-minded people that are fighting the same fight as you, and just knowing that you're in the same boat and you're in this together with other people. Like, trying to do this work on your own is too much.
Hmm.
Knowing that you're doing it with other people is really helpful, but I'm still trying to learn as I go along with this too. I don't feel like I've been doing this activism work for that long myself,
Hmm.
and so it's a learning process. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being so honest about that. Yeah. I would like a lesson in more self-care as well. So if you're listening to this
Yes.
podcast, yeah. So I was hoping that we could talk about some of the issues that are happening over in the UK,
Mm,
because as Americans, we just don't know
yeah.
as much. Thankfully, Instagram helps us stay connected, but shit, man, I need a break from Instagram. So thankfully you're here and you can tell us in a different medium. So there's a lot happening in Blackpool City, but it looks like similar things are happening in Manchester and in Bristol. Is Blackpool City considered a
Mm-hmm.
part of Bristol, or like, because in Los Angeles, for instance,
No, no, no.
Hollywood is a part. Okay, got it. It's a different spot.
yeah, Blackpool is in the north and
Mhm.
Bristol's way down in the south.
Got it.
Yeah, they're two different parts, but they're being hit by similar problems, and
Mhm.
other parts of the UK are kind of jumping on the bandwagon with a lot of the same ideas. So UK strip clubs have been under attack for years
Mhm.
now, for years and years and years. So how it works in the UK is, I believe it's every 8 months, an area or a council has to renew, if you're a strip club, you have to have a license to run
Mhm.
that premises as a sexual entertainment venue,
Mhm.
and every 8 months you have to apply to renew that license. So a lot of debates around whether strip clubs should be a thing
Mm.
often come around every 8 months or so, and they're called Swerves.
Yeah.
I don't know if people listening to your podcast
Well,
would
we're just gonna
know what
explain
that
that.
is.
Let's explain what a swerf is, just in case someone's new listening to the podcast and they're not a sex worker. So swerf is spelled SWERF, and it stands for Sex Worker Exclusionary Radical Feminist. So it means the feminist movement is very strongly against sex work. And so, yeah, it sounds like you have a lot of swerfs over in England. So tell us, like, what they're up to, what's going on.
It is so rampant, and obviously it's not feminism, is it? 'Cause it's not inclusive of all women.
Exactly.
So
Right.
it's like, it's second wave feminism.
Mm.
And we're on like the fourth wave now, I think. You know, us, yeah, us, you know, strippers in the club over here. So they the swerves come about every now and then, and they don't think that strip clubs should be a thing. They think that people that work in strip clubs should be rescued from that line of
Mm.
work, when we're just like, no, we just want our jobs, and actually we want better rights in our workplaces, please and thank you. But they don't want to listen to this. And the latest thing that has got up these swerves tight butts is they're using, so over here we had her name's Sarah Everard.
Okay.
She died at the hands of a police officer, and Swerves are using this murder to their advantage to say that strip clubs are what's causing men to be violent against women. Yeah, I know, right? There's like no link. There is no evidence to back up this claim. The strip clubs, men walk into strip clubs not violent and then they come out violent. There is nothing to suggest that that's what
Right.
happens.
But a police
Yeah,
officer murdered her.
yeah.
So was the police officer corrupted by the strip club? Is that their narrative?
No, they're just that. So this death, this murder, has sparked a lot of, I guess, feminists to come forward and
Mm.
say we want to feel safe in this world. We want to be able to go out on the streets at night and not come under attack by men. So it's kind of, it's, yes, it was a police officer that murdered this lady, but it's kind of come into a big movement of women wanting freedom and
Right.
standing against violence against women.
Right.
So, and the Swerves have capitalized off of this movement to say, hey, strip clubs are contributing to this problem. This is probably why you feel unsafe on the streets, because we've got these spaces. And
Oh
it's just
my
like, whoa,
God.
yeah, I
Oh my
know. I
God.
know. So the first place to be hit recently is Bristol.
Right.
And you can look at the statistics around male violence against women, and in the top 10 there isn't the strip clubs to be seen. It's just like,
Right.
it's not there. There's the evidence isn't there. And then Blackpool jumped on the bandwagon, and now it looks like Manchester's going to get involved too, and it's all under this guise to protect women and make the, you know, the UK a safer place. And it's just like, no, you're not doing that, you're doing the opposite.
Right. Are they talking to sex workers at all?
Yeah.
They
And
are.
they don't care. They
What?
have So
response to you? Sorry.
mm,
What?
yeah, there's several responses that have come to light. So hi, I just trigger warning here, like,
Thank you.
talking about violence against sex workers.
Okay.
One journalist has, I'm just going to paraphrase and say that she said once sex work has been eradicated, sex workers should be shot for being colluding with that and being involved in that kind of work. Yeah, so you've got that very extremist thoughts, like actually wanting sex workers to be punished for being involved, which is a lot. And then you've got other politicians and MPs coming forward saying they hear us, but they don't understand and they don't care, and they've heard our arguments,
What's an
but
MP?
so it's a representative of a part of the UK. They hold political power
Okay.
in Parliament, in government.
Okay.
So
So they're
yeah,
saying we hear you and we see you, but we think you're wrong and we don't care. That's what
yeah,
they're saying.
yeah. They don't. They, we're we're trying to get our arguments out there. We're trying to be heard, and some people have listened, but they haven't. They don't understand. Yeah, I've gone beyond the point of thinking that their ideology and their beliefs comes from a place of ignorance and wanting to help, and I'm just like, no, they just want to see us burn. They want to see this kind of work gone, and they want they want to see sex workers punished with that. I can't think of any other logical way, because if you explain what happens if you take the strip club away and if you put these sex workers out of work, bearing in mind strip clubs are the only safe and legal sex worker space in the UK, it's so logical what's going to happen if you take that away from us. So the only rational explanation that is really left is they know this and they just want to see us harmed. And that is so horrible to
Oh my
kind of come
God.
to terms with that reality. And that's what's happening. And it's a lot.
Is there any politician or anyone in power on your side? Are there any allies in position of power?
Some parties are starting to come forwards in support of us. It's I think it's because a lot of the arguments around shutting strip clubs or keeping them open, it's not as simple as people think, and it's quite complicated. So we do need to talk about it. And fortunately, like, we call them the Green Party in the UK. They're like way left. They're like as left as you can get, pretty much. The Green Party in Bristol, I believe they have come forward in support of strip clubs staying open. However, they don't have power because they are not elected at the minute, I think. So yes, it's a voice, and that's great, and hopefully more people follow suit. But really, we've not got a lot of power in politics and these places at the minute, and it's
And
very
what about
frustrating.
yeah, I hear that. And thank you for sharing all of this because I had no idea that it was on this level. What about the strip club managers and owners? What do they have to say about it? I mean, they have money and they have connections. What are they
Mm.
doing to combat this issue?
It's interesting because the Bristol strip club managers have been very vocal.
Hmm.
They've gone on the radio, they've gone on the news, they've been, talking to the press. They've been doing a lot, and especially to try and, destigmatize and take away the myth of the strip club and trying to set the record straight as to what goes on in these spaces and why they're important. So Bristol clubs have been a massive advocate for their spaces and for their workers, and that is brilliant. I'm not, Blackpool's been silent as far as I can tell. And there's like at least 4 clubs in Blackpool, and it's really interesting how quiet it is there. I think it's quite rare the amount that the Bristol clubs have been standing up, really.
Yeah.
There's been so many other clubs in the UK that have been shut down because
Mhm.
they've not been able to get their licenses renewed. And in
Mhm.
those cases, sometimes the managers have been vocal, other times they haven't. So yeah.
What happens when they get shut down? Does everything go away, or do they, forgive me for wanting to speculate a little bit, but
Mhm.
does it push that work further underground when that happens?
The latter, that's
That's what I'm
exactly what
concerned
happens.
about. And there's
Yeah.
less regulation and there's less people watching them and there's less for them to be accountable for.
Yes.
Got it.
And this is going to get even worse because
Right.
of the Nordic model coming in.
Right.
It's all connected, and this is like such an anti-sex worker model
Mhm.
that's going to be implemented in the UK. I believe you have it in. No, it's not Vegas. I think you have it in New York.
I think that they're, and forgive me, listeners, if I'm getting this wrong, but I believe that they're in the process of introducing it, and
Yeah.
we are trying to not have that introduced because we know
Hmm.
that it's been such a shit show for you all over there, and we've learned. Can you explain to people what, just in case they don't understand or don't know, what the Nordic model is and like what has changed and what has resulted from that decision?
So the Nordic model criminalizes the client. The aim of the Nordic model is to reduce sex work, hopefully to non-existent, according to the people that are trying to put these laws in. They just want to try and reduce that type of work. But this doesn't work.
Right.
It actually, where you've seen it implemented in other parts of the world, it doesn't reduce the amount of sex work happening, and actually it increases violence against sex workers. So it has an incredibly negative effect on sex workers because this law policy criminalizes the client. They are less likely to give out information, therefore sex workers can't vet their clients properly. It's just going to be really even more difficult to get authorities involved if sex workers need help. They're just open to so much more abuse, and it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah, but they're also like, we're trying to help you. This is helping sex workers, right? Like that's how they're trying to sell it. Like they're doing something good for sex workers, so just shut up and leave us alone kind of thing.
Yeah, they're selling it as again, it's this savior complex. They're trying to get us out of this line of work because you don't really want that with your life, do you? But we're not really going to give you any other options with this once we've got you out of that line of work, and it's going to be really hard for you to find anything else. But sorry, that's the way it is. That's basically the what happens.
Yeah.
So this whole model is like based on exit strategy, so trying to get sex workers out of that line of work and into a more socially acceptable job.
Mm.
But the programs which are in place to try and help facilitate that are really inefficient, and they're not helpful. And that's for those that do, because obviously if people want to get out of sex work, that should totally be a thing that society should be helping sex workers do. But I think they're totally disregarding those that want to be in the industry and love their jobs and wouldn't want to do anything else. It's like,
Mm.
how could you possibly want to be a sex worker? It's like, well, there's quite a few of us actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if someone, so because I've noticed that you said, oh, if someone wants to get out of sex work, then other people should help them. Is so in the States, like if I wanted to do something else and I'm a known sex worker, like that wouldn't really necessarily be too much of an issue for me unless
Mm.
I wanted to work with kids, and then it would definitely be an issue. I would definitely not be able to do that. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of opportunity for me
Mm-hmm.
here. Also, I'd like to acknowledge my privilege as also another reason why there's a lot of opportunity for me here. But it wouldn't be, oh, you've been a sex worker, like we're not gonna hire you because of that. Like that wouldn't necessarily happen all across the board in certain things, maybe, yeah, but like I could get a waitress job, or I could get probably a sales associate job, or if I wanted to do those things, which there's nothing wrong with those things, I just don't want to do those things. um, but it sounds like maybe over in the UK, based on what you're saying, and I just want to make sure it's landing, that I'm receiving it correctly, that if you wanted to do another job after several years of sex work, would that be really difficult for you?
Yeah, massively. And especially if you have any kind of online imprint,
Hmm.
most companies won't hire you off the basis of that. It's
Hmm.
like massive discrimination against
Hmm.
sex workers
Hmm.
over here. Like, even though I have a degree and I'm very privileged in a lot of ways, because of my involvement in sex work, it would be really difficult for me to
Right.
find another job. Not
Yeah.
that I'd want to,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it'd be really, really difficult. I had a friend, the she maybe did like a month of OnlyFans, and I
Hmm.
know she went to a job interview um for like a carer position, and they just sat there like, if you do you, what do you do online, basically? If you done it, like it was like they knew that she was a part of something, and she's like, I'm not a part of anything, and she had to shut down her accounts right away just in case they came running. And they have companies have the same problems with pole dancers as well, actually. A lot of yeah, I've
They won't hire pole dancers?
I not necessarily, but
Uh-huh.
they don't. A lot of companies, a lot of businesses don't like it. It's just a general stigma around
Hmm.
it. And I know that I've had friends in like normal jobs that have been criticized and almost told, can you like not post this stuff? And some
Hmm.
people that have to put their accounts like locked down on private, in
Yeah.
case work finds it, and they'd be punished for that. There's
Yeah.
fear around that. Yeah,
That's
I
crazy.
know.
There was
Yeah,
this
it's bad over here.
Yeah, there was a news story that came out a few months ago out here, where a woman who was an auto mechanic joined OnlyFans, and her coworkers like basically gave her a hard time, like teased her or whatever, and got really inappropriate with her. And
Mm.
when it was a national news story, everyone was outraged at the company and at the car place and in support of her, to the point where like Yelp reviews on this particular car shop, it was one of the like the name brands. People were like writing shitty Yelp reviews and like
Yeah.
really going after this company. And it's not a monolith of, yeah, we're all like me and we all have all this opportunity. That it does really vary, but it's definitely not on the scale that you're talking about, at least not in my experience or those that I'm very close to. There is discrimination that happens in the United
Yeah.
States, so I want to acknowledge that, but not like what I'm hearing here. Like,
Yeah.
that's intense.
Yeah, there was this really severe case. I'm just thinking now, I remember something that popped up in the press that was a really big thing. I can't remember what sector or what kind of company it was, but um a bunch of male colleagues found a female colleague's OnlyFans and her porn. They watched it in work, and she was the one that got fired.
And that happened in the UK.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's just like, it, really?
Yeah, and
You're not going to reprimand the male colleagues, and it's all about her. She's the one that's the problem. I
yeah.
Okay,
I
right?
mean,
Because
I've heard
that's
stories like that before, though. That's like a global thing where it's all the women's fault, you know? It's all the, yeah,
always.
it's,
Yeah.
we're the problem. Ugh, it makes my head spin. Jesus. So,
Yeah.
wow, that is a lot.
Take a
So,
breath.
yeah, like, so what do we do? So, what do we do to help the UK sex workers in these issues? Like, what do we do?
there's a bunch of petitions going
Okay.
around right now. If you want to find them, they're all in my bio on Instagram,
Okay.
on my link tree. So there's a petition for Bristol, there's a petition for Blackpool, and there's a petition for the Nordic Model. Me, along with quite a lot of other individuals, and the East London Stripper Collective, and the other unions and stuff, we're working really hard to try and find the best route to combat this, because you can't really stop people from we're not going to stop the Swerves, basically. We're not going to stop them thinking what they're thinking. They've made up their mind on the subject, but it's very clear that our side of the story and the way that we feel and think very much isn't getting equal representation in the media. So we're really trying to, well, it's, as always, right?
Sorry, the media freaks me out over in the UK. The media freaks me out over there.
Oh God.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to yell about it, but
you can yell. Get mad.
I mean, I thought the media here in America was bad, but the UK, like, I don't even know how to describe what I've seen. The UK media, how they behave. I mean, the BBC can be trusted, right? BBC is iffy. Okay.
Sometimes it's mostly like that. If you're gonna go to a source, that's probably the best out of the bunch, but there's always some kind of censorship and a twisted motive involved. Really,
I guess trust is the wrong word.
Yeah,
I don't think I meant that.
We can't trust any media, really. It's probably the best out of the bunch. It's the best source that we can go to, really. But it's just, it's very, very frustrating. But the petitions do help. If anything, they raise awareness, and that's really good. So if all the listeners could sign those things, it literally takes less than a minute.
Yes. Okay.
So yeah.
All right, everyone, go and sign those petitions, all of them, and we'll give Gemma's handles at the end of this episode. Or you can say it right now really quick in case someone is listening halfway and then they're taking a pause. Tell us your handle right now so they can find you.
At Gemma Rose Poll.
Perfect. Thank you.
That's my name.
Yes. So one of the things I wanted to ask you was, you recently did a Q&A on your Instagram about the myths and falsehoods of the UK, being a UK stripper. And one of the things was, do you feel safe at work? And your response was, well, management makes us feel unsafe. I feel like we covered that a little bit just now, but I guess, so I want to know a little bit more about that. And then my main question is does management know that you speak out against them?
It's kind of like naughty school children, playing behind the teacher. So yeah, I've had some pretty rough experiences with management. I've rarely felt unsafe with clients, and I can firmly say in all of my experiences, I feel safer in the club than I do in when I worked in McDonald's. I feel safer in the club than when I worked in McDonald's as a civ job. And we're open as women, we're open to abuse in any kind of workplace, but I genuinely feel so much more protected in the strip club because I have the power over the client always. But when the management's there, that's a totally different power structure, and when your job is at stake, it's totally different odds. And I know from my conversations with other strippers in the UK, I think I've been pretty unlucky in my experiences. I mean, there's always some kind of favoritism and hierarchy in, dancers. But I've had cases where I've heard or been involved in harassment and abuse from management, and that's made me feel so unsafe because they're the people that are supposed to be protecting me. So that's been pretty shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking it just all these like visions of times that I felt unsafe with managers or other staff of the strip club just like flashed through my head. Um, and yeah, I don't think people really understand that just men in general, no matter who they are, like what status they hold, I mean, are just dangerous to us in
Yeah.
general, you know.
Always. Always.
Especially men in power positions over, you know, non-male, other non-males,
Hmm.
basically. I want to be
Yeah.
inclusive because it's not just women that
No,
they're
no, no.
threatening to. Yeah. So, wow. But so do they, I'm sorry. So I just want to make sure that we answer the question. Do they know that you
Oh,
like call them out and stuff?
I don't think
You
so.
don't think so?
No, because I mean, I assume there are some strippers that have made it known to their bosses, but they're not to be seen, and that's probably because the managers kicked them out.
Right.
If they knew we were speaking out against them, or like if I were to speak out against my club manager, then I probably wouldn't have a job to go back to. But
Yeah.
we unfortunately, my local strip club has got shut down. My super bad experience was with a totally different other club, so I'm happy to speak out about my shitty experience with strip club management. But if um, as a dancer you've had experiences with management but you still belong to that club, that's really tricky to try and speak out at the risk of at the chance of losing your job, or even if it's like the smaller things like you don't get the shift that you want, or everyone else gets to go home early but you don't. So it's things like that on both scales of the of the thing. um
Right.
but
Right.
yeah, we talk about it in the union, and we talk
Hmm.
about it amongst each other.
Right.
But yeah, I don't think they quite know how much we bitch about them behind their back.
I'm surprised they're not checking your accounts.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
knock on wood, my gosh, but
yeah,
like
I
that's
know,
something
right?
that happens here in America. They do check up on the dancers and see what they're saying and see if they're fighting for
Wow.
their rights.
I
Yeah.
mean, to be
Mhm.
fair, all the stuff that I post all my stuff under a different name than they probably know me as.
Okay.
So
Okay.
mind you, they could probably still find it quite easily. You're
Right.
quite right. Yeah, that's really interesting. I'll have to consider that more going forwards when I find another club to work at.
Hmm. Yeah, because they I don't know, like some of the clubs here in the States are requiring like, let us see your Instagram account, like what's your Instagram handle, and like that'll be considered in the hiring process in some clubs.
Oh,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
interesting.
mm-hmm. And I don't
Okay.
know for
Yeah.
exactly why. I think some clubs, because some clubs in the States are requiring their dancers to do promotion on their Instagram, so they
Fair
probably
enough.
like want like, I mean, yeah, a free promotion. It's not really
Yeah, that's
fair, but
no,
yeah.
I understand why they would
Yeah,
want it,
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, free labor is never okay.
Yeah, but I think that that I think that some other management is also looking at it, because we know of instances where people have lost their job, and there's no real explanation
Yes.
why, and the only thing
Yeah.
they can think of is like, well, I post like hella shit about my rights on my account, and so that's going to be that's a union busting tactic, even though they're not attempting to unionize, but so they're like nipping it in the bud right away. So yeah, just something to be aware of, because they're
Thank you.
they're
Yeah, you're
gnarly.
right.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
so right. You're so right. And I hadn't even really thought about it that much like that. But
yeah. I
yeah,
don't
oh
mean to
my
freak you out or
gosh.
anything,
No,
but
no, no,
in
it's
today's
fine.
digital age,
Yeah,
they'll
no,
use
you're
anything against us.
it fucking sucks that we can't
Hmm.
just speak openly about our rights, and that these managers don't care enough to improve their spaces, because I think they just see us as disposable.
Right.
There's a million other dancers waiting, thirsting to get in the doors. So, we're very expendable as a workforce,
I know.
and I think a lot of managers don't care to improve the situation or make things better and nicer for us, and that's just it's so shit. It's so shit because of that.
I know. I'm so sorry that you
Mm.
all are dealing with that. That's just next level. That's next level. And I really hope that there's something that we as Americans can do to help. But it's like, other than signing petitions, like, what else is there that we could do? You know, like, I live in one state, but I could
Mm.
mail or email somebody in another state, like a politician in another state. But
Yeah.
I've not considered writing to the prime minister of the UK, you know, like,
If you really wanted to, you could write to the British Council, to the Bristol Council and
mhm.
Blackpool Council.
Okay.
Um, Normally, as a UK citizen, if you have a problem with something coming into UK law and policy, like the Nordic model, then I would write to my MP,
Uh-huh.
for example. But as an American, you wouldn't have an MP because you don't have a
Right. Okay.
So you can write to the various councils in the UK, like the Bristol Council and the Blackpool Council, to say why these spaces are important.
Okay.
Um, which is super helpful, and there's templates out there from a variety of sex workers.
Okay.
If anybody wants those, please drop me a message and I can facilitate that.
Is that
um,
something that the East London Stripper Collective would also have templates maybe on their website?
I don't
You don't.
think that they do, but I
Okay.
know various dancers that do, and I can send those forwards.
Okay.
Which, that's easier than writing something yourself. So again, it doesn't take up that much time, and that is
Mhm.
really useful.
Okay. Good
But
to
yeah,
know.
other than that, I mean, like, you've got your own problems over
Well,
there
I'm
as
doing that
well.
thing that we talked about in the beginning of the show where we have to fix everything, right?
Yeah, we
Like,
have to fix everything.
I'm over
um,
here like,
and
what do I do?
I know, because it is so frustrating, and I know
Yes.
that you feel my pain, and I know a lot of listeners will feel my pain as well, and our pain over here in
Yeah.
the UK. But you've got your shit to deal with over there in the US too. And the more us little worker bees, the more that we work on our own things, hopefully that will bring about collective destigmatization and
You're right.
decriminalization and all of those wonderful things that we want.
You're right.
So
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you for bringing me back down from my crazy cloud. Thank you.
It's hard to come back down from that place. I
I
understand.
know. I'm enraged. So let's talk about something fun. I saw
Oh, yes.
a t-shirt of a thing on it called the Kraken. So we
Yeah.
must talk about the Kraken. You have to tell everyone, what is the Kraken? What does it look like? Explain, please.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this. So as a little like side business, I decided to start my own line of merch, which is really exciting. And my first piece in that is the Kraken,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is so exciting. Like, it's
So
so sweet.
yeah, so hold it up for us, and then we're going to describe it for our listeners who aren't able to see it. Okay, so it looks like a woman with octopus, so her legs are spread, and she's got legs, but then they turn into octopus tentacles, and the same for her arms. And then her vagina is actually a really crazy mouth with like scary teeth that look like, you know, that fish, that really scary fish that lives deep in the ocean. That's what the teeth look like just crazy sharp, lots of big fang teeth. Okay, very cool. The
Yeah, so
Kraken.
I
Yeah, so
I love this so much.
yeah.
I don't know if she's a she or a they or even a he. I
Okay.
think I think that kind of the whole point of this shirt is to bring about more inclusive gender language into the classroom environment.
Mhm.
So there's this move. There's this floorwork move called Vagina Monster. I'm 100% sure that came from the strip clubs.
The move itself, yes.
Yeah, it's a wonderful move. But you know, in a classroom environment, this isn't inclusive of everyone. Not everyone has a vagina.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So,
Yes.
you know, it's really important to bring about these more inclusive terms, especially in a
Yes.
classroom environment, to make everyone, you know, feel comfortable and included. And one of my at my studio, another instructor said that she called it the Kraken, which, you know, it conjures up similar ideas as a vagina monster, but like even more powerful and like scary almost. And obviously, you know, it's genderless. So it's, you know, it's more inclusive of everyone. So
okay, can you hold it up again? Because
yeah,
I originally said woman, but I'm glad that you like said all of that. And you're right, it is not clear what
no,
gender we are looking at now that I look closer. There are
they're
like
quite femme,
right,
but
it is, and there's a like pasties on it, but the breasts aren't necessarily quite large or not very defined. So yeah, and so question,
yeah.
who drew that?
Banana Illustrations.
Okay.
They were she was fantastic. When I was describing it to her, she was just like, "You want what now?" And I sent her a video of me doing the move, doing the Kraken, and she was like, "Okay." And I said that I wanted like these crazy legs, and I wanted her to be like, well, her, they, whatever. I wanted the monster to be like sexy but scary. And she was just like, okay.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious because she came back to me with like, she actually drew a vagina at first. And I was like, that's totally not the point of what I'm trying to do here. It's beautiful, but I don't want it to be a vagina. I just want it to be a hole that eats things.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay. And she drew the face really pretty as well. I said, it needs to be scarier. I said, like, I want it to be like teeth. And she's like, okay. I think she's like, this Gemma girl is totally off her rocker. She's weird as. And yeah, she came back to me with like a few more designs.
Yeah.
And she said, I haven't included the last one because I thought it was too scary. And she sent me that. I was like, that's the one. That's what I want. That's it. And it's got a little hashtag harpoon me at the bottom.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so I'm really, really proud of that. And I'm starting my little sexy sea monster club. And it's so exciting. And I hope that this inspires and encourages more people in the pole industry to be more gender inclusive, or just inclusive in general with their language, and working together to find other alternatives like vagina monster to Kraken, because there's so many gendered terms that we have that aren't inclusive of everyone. So yeah,
thank you for that. That's really lovely. And just so listeners know, if you're not a stripper or a pole dancer, the move that we're talking about is when someone is sitting on their butt with their hands behind them and the legs are spread open in a wide V, and they walk forward on their ass while stretching their legs out in front of them. And your head and chest is up, so you're all very visible, and you're just literally walking across the floor but on your ass with your legs wide open. And it's one of my ultimate favorites to do. So
it's the best.
yes,
I love that move so much.
Yes.
It's so like exposing and intimidating, and it's like you're
Yes.
gonna eat them in the audience, and I fucking love it.
Yeah, it's incredible. Wow, amazing work. I can't wait to get a Kraken t-shirt. Very excited.
Are you gonna get one?
I would love to get one.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Oh my gosh, I
love
would
to
be
get one.
honored.
Yeah, I would love to get one and wear one on the show. So that would be fun.
Thank you.
Yes, I love wearing shirts and things that say stuff. This is an old design that I created. It was the beginning of a design for a while. It says pole with a heart in it. It was back when I was obsessed with pole dancing, which I'm not as much anymore. Now I'm obsessed with strippers. Um, forever and ever and ever.
Want to be fabulous just like these strippers? Pay attention. It's stripper tips.
So my stripper tip is for, well, it could be applied to everyone in life really, but especially for strippers, and especially for baby strippers. And my tip is to establish and respect your boundaries. So especially working in a club environment, it can be very tempting, whether that's a customer asking for a particular service and they're offering all kinds of money, but if you do that, you might regret it later and not feel so good. Like, it might feel good in the moment, but afterwards you might feel pretty shitty about yourself and about that situation. So yeah, some people definitely might find that and establish their boundaries as they work the job, but for me it was really helpful to just set my boundaries right from the get-go, and be really clear on that and stick to that in order to protect myself and protect my sanity and my mental health. So yeah, that's my stripper tip.
Lovely. Thank you. Very important stuff.
Get ready for our rapid fire question round. It's time for 4 for 1.
If you opened a strip club, what would you name it?
Oh, uh, Divine Divas. I don't know.
Oh, good job. If you could turn any type of flat shoes in the world into heels, what type of shoe would it be?
Crocs, because fuck it.
I've seen an image. I was wondering if you were going to choose Crocs. I've seen an image of Crocs as heels before. I have seen that. I don't know if it was real or photoshopped, but I have seen that image before.
You
Yes.
have to send that to me.
I'll have to look for it. Yeah. Okay. What glamping item would you just have to have with you on a camping trip?
Vibrator.
A vibrator. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a glamping item. Okay.
I don't know.
Like
Maybe. I don't really glamp.
okay. All right. Last one. Have you ever imagined wrestling for your life with a large animal like a bear or a tiger? And if so, did you somehow win that fight?
No.
Never imagined
No. Maybe like a duck.
You've imagined wrestling a duck?
Yeah, I'm obsessed with ducks. So
ducks are
yeah.
assholes. They are very cute, but they're fucking assholes. They rape the female ducks.
It's actually, yeah, that is pretty harrowing, I must admit. But yeah.
They are very cute though. They are
so cute. They are so cute. Let's just forget about the whole rapey element.
It's really hard to forget about that. I can't believe you imagined wrestling ducks. That is hilarious. Okay. Good job. All right, everyone. Before we close up, I just want to give you a quick reminder that we love donations, because donations are going to go pay our future guests and retroactively our past guests. So if you love this show, please consider sending a donation to paypal.me/yes, a stripper podcast, or you can visit our beautiful new website designed by me at yesastripperpodcast.com. Gemma, you're going to have to tell everyone where we can find you so people can follow up on all this info that we just went over today.
Yes, you can find me over on Instagram at Gemma Rose Pole. I'm trying to use Twitter under the same username, but that's not going so well. I'm on Facebook too under Gemma Rose. And you can also find me on OnlyFans too. And I have a Buy Me a Coffee where you can buy some dance class recordings, and that is all on my Instagram. I won't bore you with the URLs of that. And you can just, hit my link in the bio there. It's all there for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm so excited for all the work that you're doing, and I can't wait to sign all of those petitions myself. So thank you so much for letting us know what's going on, because I'm sure there's other people that want to help as well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's really
Welcome.
important to spread the word, and I hope that people feel inspired to help.
I'm sure they will. So you've heard that. There's some action items for you from this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in as always. We love our listeners, and I hope you're having a great week out there. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, everyone. This episode has been a production with Period Podcast Network. Find out more on Instagram at Period Podcast Network. Be sure to follow us on Instagram too at YAS, a Stripper Podcast, and you can find us on Twitter at YAS, a Stripper Pod. Please like, subscribe, and rate YAS, a Stripper Podcast here on YouTube.